I will introduce now our guest speaker, and I'm so happy that I have her on the chat because she is really a master of reinventing herself. And she is going to share with us what she did, how she did it, and will give us a couple tips that can help us to reinvent ourselves. So my guest today is Sabrina Protic. She is an author, a life coach, and she is the author of the book, Growing Ageless. And I like that because I believe we are ageless anyway. Maybe our body shows it a little bit, but our mind and our spirit is ageless. And when we take that approach, I think we can do anything. And so with no further ado, I am getting Sabrina on the line. How are you, Sabrina? How are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Sabine, for having me on the show. I'm so glad we finally made it here. A few technical glitches, but I tell you what, talk about reinventing. Sabine is not going to let this Facebook Live stop her. She was on a mission. She was going to get this show on regardless, and she is here. She's my hero. So thank you for having me on the show. Thank the listeners for being patient.
You're very welcome. You know, I guess that is my determination that I have, but also being in showbiz, there's a saying, the show must go on no matter what. And that's
Yes.
what we've learned. So Sabrina, tell our group here, our listeners, you were in a dark place in your life. And how did you get out of there and how did you reinvent yourself?
Wow. Well, you know what, Sabine, it really did take reinventing. And I really want the listeners to listen at this. I had what was called a perfect life. Everything was wonderful. I could pinch myself, actually, married, 2 kids, a dog, a home, pretty decent income. And I never saw the upheaval coming. I didn't see anything turbulent coming in my life. And as with most things, you don't see them coming. And anyway, our family kind of disintegrated, and here I found myself being a single parent, 2 kids, and now a statistic, which is something I never wanted to be. And that is, a divorced woman, 2 kids, a house, a minivan, and a dog. Believe it or not, I fit all those. I'm doing all of that. And I felt like my life was over. I felt like, who's going to want me? Been there, done that. Anybody that is looking for a life isn't going to want the package, and I had the package. So I gave up. I gave up on myself, and I was just the dog mom, the soccer mom. I had no life, and I found myself the only person that was happy to see me was my dog. I would come home, little tail was wagging, and I looked forward to taking the dog out. I had no life. I had no life. Guess what? I had no friends because I internalized my position in life. And because of my mental thinking, I put myself in this box. And next thing I know, I'm all alone. I was not associated. I even went out and ate alone. I ate dinner by myself on the weekends that I didn't have my kids because we had shared custody. That was no life at all. And I dressed in black every day for 3 years. I think I felt safe inside of those colors. I felt like I was skinnier. I felt like no one would notice me. So you know what was going on in here was being manifest on the outside. And I lived my life in seclusion. And I came out of that. I came out of it. And so we're talking about reinventing. May I share with you how I did that? I don't want to take up all the time.
No, absolutely. Because this is, I believe, a wonderful way for everybody to see that they are not alone. Because so often we think, oh, it's just me. It's just me that are failing. It's just me who's thinking this way. But once you have the understanding and knowing that you're not alone, and also listening from others, and that's why I have you here, and I'm so glad that you are willing to share it. So please, yes, share how you got out of that.
Yeah, it's kind of painful. I was actually embarrassed. I was really embarrassed, and I didn't want anyone to know. So I didn't tell anybody at work that I was divorced for a year. I hid it. I just didn't know how to respond to that because I had decided it was it's like going through, financial changes and things you don't want anybody to know. It's a secret. But when you find out that everybody else, there's so many people going through the same thing. It wasn't until a girlfriend of mine invited me out to dinner with her. Well, actually, it was at someone's house. It wasn't out to dinner. It was at someone's house, a group of women. And I hadn't really been around other women or anybody else for quite some time. And because I knew her, I said, okay, I'll do this. This was the reinventing process, integrating with other people. This network that you have here is part of that reinventing process. This is necessary. This is needed. This group, this is needed, because we have to start with our peers in this group. And so here I am at this dinner, and after dinner, we have this little fireside chat, I call it. And everyone sat around and they talked about themselves, much like you're doing now. It's like, where have you been? What's going on? And my lip was zip tight, like I'm not telling anything. Okay, mom's the word. Well, Sabrina, tell us about you. Me? You want to know about me? I'm not telling. So I just gave my name, and they all kind of nodded because they think, you know what, we know what's going on. So as I began to hear their stories, similar to yours and to mine, and your listeners, that there had been some major thing that happened in their life, I thought, I'm not alone. Like, wow, this is happening to so many people. And when they rolled it back around to me again, I was able to release. We're releasing in this group. I was able to talk about what had happened and how I wasn't happy with the situation. I began to realize the only way I was going to reinvent myself was to start with me, and then to also help others, much like you're helping us today. This is needed to see how others have gotten through this, whatever it is, be it economic, be it job, be it business, whatever it is. So now how are we doing this? And as we share videos on your platform, we share stories, we're actually not only helping ourselves, we're helping others. So the key to me reinventing myself and getting out of that was to help others, to say, hey, this is my message. This is my mess. This is what happened to me. I'm ready to move forward. And so one of the things I did, which is what I'm going to like give a kudos to this group, is I went on, I joined other groups, just like this group. I joined other groups, other networking groups, so that I could expand my network, get to know others. It wasn't about business. It became business, but at that time it was about, I just need to know what's going on in the world. I need to reconnect. So I'm encouraging all of you to reconnect, be a part of groups, be a part of organizations. What Sabine is doing is a wonderful thing. It was actually something like this that helped pull me through and get me acclimated back into society. And once that happened, I got a clearer vision as to what I really wanted to do. And I kind of zeroed in on women's empowerment. And I started a women's empowerment organization, which, you know, you're well aware of that. But it was through those steps that helped me get to that point, and even to writing the book, because the book came from the women's empowerment, empowering myself and helping others to get my story out there.
And this is really what I see is happening now in a wide area, with a lot of women who are reinventing themselves and who are stepping up, just what you did. And what I liked, what you were saying, you know, moving forward, even if it appears to be a dark place. And you did this, you really, I mean, for 3 years, if you're really thinking about it, and you're not alone. There are so many people who are just locking themselves up. And, you know, there's not sometimes, I believe every time, there is maybe just one person who gets you basically that little kick in the behind to move you forward. For you, it was that one friend who invited you to dinner. And that got the whole process going. For me, it was my former teacher who reminded me on what my gifts and talents, my talent is, and that I ought to share it. And those people are so important in our lives. And now you are one of those that also in your group, empowering women. And this is what I am doing right now, to helping others to pay it forward. And I believe this is how we really can reinventing ourselves all the time. And now let me ask you this. What are you currently doing to reinvent yourself?
Well, yeah. So, part of that process is realizing when there's a need for change. And what we did maybe 4 years ago needs to be tweaked. So here I am. Just last year, I launched this book, Growing Ageless, which I think you showed the book.
Mm-hmm.
See that Growing Ageless, Think Young and Live Younger. So I launched that book. Well, in the middle of me doing that book, I realized I needed something else under my belt. If I'm really going to help people change their lives, I became a certified life coach. In the middle of that, I became certified in doing that. Everything was wonderful, and all that's good. And now here we have a new life change going on in front of us. And so now I've got to do a little bit more tweaking with that. And so reinventing the reinvention. And so how am I going to take that to another level? And so now I'm focusing on the wellness side of my business because people are really concerned with their overall health now. Maybe we took those things for granted. Maybe I've heard so many people say, years ago, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine. I don't need to do this. I don't need that. Well, now people are taking a second look. So I'm focusing on wellness and also transitioning. My main focus right now is helping people transition from one point of their life to another, be it wellness, be it job, be it business. Maybe you got to do the SWOT therapy, SWOT analysis on your business. I'm helping people reevaluate and transition from one thing to another so that we can get this hump that we're in. So that is kind of what I'm going with right now. And I have a new website. We'll talk about that at the end. But I have taken steps to put myself out there. And on a daily basis now, Sabine, I'm putting something out there for everybody. It's not all about business. It's about health and any and everything, how to just enjoy family life. So those are some of the things that I'm doing that I want to encourage, kind of broaden your horizon a little bit. When you think about reinventing, it doesn't always have to be a specific business per se. It can fall into that space. But if you provide something that's educational and beneficial and motivational and inspirational to people, the rest will come. That's just how I see it.
Fantastic. That's a very good lead in and analysis and ending to your story. I'm very grateful that you shared this with us today, because this gives people also hope. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are. And you want to make sure that you basically work from your best self and help others and assist others. So thank you so much, Sabrina, for that, for sharing your story. And at the end, as everybody knows, we are giving away, or I'm putting together the resource guide. So all my guests who are on there will be on there, and what they're giving away. And I know you're giving away a life balance e-guide. I think that will be very helpful for everybody. Thank you so much. Now I want to go into our homework, or our own work, as you all know. Yesterday, it was about finances. We had a guest speaker, and she gave some great information. And I shared in my part one live video that we had what I am going to do and what I am working on, actually. So this time around, if you haven't seen the first one, the first 5 minutes or so, I gave a little preview and talked about what is our topic today, which is really our biggest enemy, inaction. So that I want you to really think about, what is one action step that you are doing today. It can be as little as reaching out to this person, or it can be as little as I am researching how to build an opt-in page. It can be as little as reaching out to your family to say hello and telling them how much you love them. It can be as little as working something for your health. Remember what my challenge is health-wise. I'm doing a 1-minute plank for every day, because that 1 minute it works your whole body. And if you cannot do it all the way, you can do it on your elbows too. Okay, so for those of you, you can adapt. So what is the one action you are going to take today? Because it's all about momentum. It's all about momentum. And what we are doing here in this challenge, guys, is really putting things into action and starting new habits. Because it's not just listening. If you listen to great content, it can be absolute great content, you are remembering it, retaining about 10%. If you take notes, physical notes, I'm taking notes with every speaker that I have, with everything, even for myself, I'm taking notes. If you take notes, after 24 hours, you still retained and remembered 50 to 60%. But now I want to give you one more thing where you really can retain and remember most, is putting a movement, putting action to it. So if you have an emotional attachment to it, to whatever you're doing, you remember even more. So if you want to stand up and just kind of stretch, or you're going to do a little dance, you will remember. You will remember more. All right. Or just standing up or taking action today. That will help you to anchor that in. All right. So listening, writing it down, and taking action will help you to anchor everything in. So this is what you want to do, and post it. And remember, if you are brave, you post a video, because the more we are getting comfortable in front of a video, the better we will become. Right? So, and as Sabrina said, it is not necessarily that it has something to do with your business. Some of you want to reinvent yourself on a health level. All right. So what are you doing now? Are you going and buying healthier food, or are you cooking a healthy meal today? That could be one action. And I just wanted to share my wonderful husband. He started taking action for his health, and he started to looking at baking bread the healthy way. Oh my gosh. And he did it. He learned from somebody what to take, and not just what the flour, but what kind of flour, how the stone grain flour is different, because it has all 3 elements that we need for our body. So if you use that, you have actually healthy bread, because not every bread is, desirable for your health, right? So now he started that and said, oh my God, and it tastes good. So he took action. So whatever it is for you, do just something, okay? And my action is in helping others is to putting together this free mastermind. And I tell you, masterminds are very, very powerful. And I'm just putting the things that help me build my online business and giving you tips from my background as an actress and as a vocalist. What does your voice look like? And how are you appearing on video, which is the new medium that we need to use to the best of our ability. But I'm also sharing some of the mastermind tips that I learned from my master, the Mr. Great Tony Robbins. And so all of those that is from a combined 40 years experience will be in that free mastermind class that I'm going to do on May 2nd. And I'm working on the little tweaks to get it out so you can actually register, because it has a limited number, because I just want to make it sure that everybody can get onto the Zoom and it's not crashing, right? So here we go. That is my contribution. This is how I'm reinventing myself. And one more time, I would like to say a big thank you to Sabrina Protic, who was on the line today. And with no further ado, I just give you a big cheer, everybody. Move forward, take action, and post it, post it, post it. And I will see you in tomorrow's live. And I hope that goes on right away, because tomorrow is all about inspiration. And my guest speaker is singer-songwriter Dana Agnolini, a longtime friend who is such an inspirational person, and with his inspirational music that he will be sharing with you as well. So that is going to be our Sunday church, so to speak, getting that inspiration that we all need to move forward in our lives. All right, I say goodbye for right now, and I'll see you all tomorrow.